Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Terry Hampton, and I'm coming to you today to share a quick little recipe that I have for the making of cornbread stuffing, or dressing is what I actually like to call it. I was talking with a couple of friends, and they expressed fear and consternation behind the idea of having to prepare dressing for Thanksgiving. And so I thought what I would do today is give everyone a quick lesson on how to make dressing, because it is, in fact, much easier than most people uh, believe. And once you've had the opportunity to make it and realize how easy it is, you find that you will be making it on a regular basis, and you won't have that fear and trepidation that you had in the past. So before I left for church this morning, I did what is referred to as prepared my mise en place, a fancy French term for basically preparing everything in advance. So I chopped up my onions, my bell pepper, and my celery, which is referred to as the Holy Trinity, in anticipation of sauteing those items in butter. I also am going to be doing something a tad bit different today, in that I am going to be adding sausage to my dressing, which is not something that I normally do. So I thought I would give it a try in advance of Thanksgiving to see how I liked it. So I have browned my sausage, I have sauteed my onions, bell pepper, and celery, and I have also boiled and removed the meat from the necks of multiple turkeys, because I also like to put the meat from the turkey necks into my dressing. And so with that said, basically all we do then is combine the ingredients, put in our liquid, and the liquid that we're going to be using is actually the stock that is created from boiling my turkey necks. And in order to create that stock, I placed my turkey necks in water in a pot with onion, celery, and bell pepper, pepper, salt, garlic powder, and I believe that was it. And so now I'm going to use the liquid, or the stock that was created from that, and use it to moisten the dressing. So with that said, we are going to begin to put our dressing together. So I've decided to switch bowls because I want you to be able to see exactly what it is that I'm doing. So I'm taking the cornbread that I have, and quick story about the cornbread. When I was a small child, my mom would often prepare cornbread throughout the year. And the leftover cornbread, she would always take and wrap it and place it in the freezer. And then at Thanksgiving and again at Christmas, she would pull out all of those pieces of cornbread that she had been saving throughout the year, and she would use those along with freshly baked cornbread to prepare her cornbread dressing. So just a little bit of history from my mom. She is with the Lord now, and we miss her greatly, but she taught us many wonderful things, and I get my love of cooking from her. So we're gonna proceed. So what I've done is I've taken the cornbread and crunched it up, as you can see, as small as possible, making certain to get the big lumps out. Next, I'm going to take the celery, onion, and bell pepper that I've sauteed and place that into the cornbread. Then begin the process of mixing those items together. Next, I'm going to take the sausage that I browned earlier, and I'm going to also add that to the mixture. And I'm going to give that a stir. And you want to make sure that you get your sausage crumbled enough. You don't want it to be in big chunks. You want it to be, of course, it can't be the same size as the tidbits of cornbread, but you want it to be small enough that you still recognize what it is, but not so large that you get big, gigantic chunks. Then we're going to take some of our turkey neck meat, get a fork, and we're going to add that into the mix. And I also like to use this meat when preparing the gravy that we so love at Thanksgiving time. My mom made the best giblet gravy. I haven't seen or tasted any that actually compares to hers. So now we're going to begin to place the liquid into the mixture. And it varies how much you'll need. It's something that you're going to have to just make a decision upon as you move through the process, because you want it to be enough liquid that everything is super moist. In fact, not just super moist, but wet. Let's see how that's doing. That's enough. Okay, that looks really good. And in the process of looking at different recipes for sausage and cornbread stuffing, most of them recommended the use of eggs. Whoops, making a mess. And so while I don't normally add eggs to my dressing, raw egg to my dressing, because I've always been under the impression that the eggs are in the cornbread that you made, so you don't really need it. But I'm trying to kind of quasi follow a recipe, and so I am going to use 2 eggs in this particular version of the dish. So we're going to add those eggs. We're going to mix that in. And then we're going to add our spices. So we're going to add poultry seasoning to your taste, as well as sage to your taste. We're going to add onion powder, perhaps a half a teaspoon, garlic powder, approximately a teaspoon. Some people, or actually most people, don't use garlic powder in their dressing, but I like it, so do what you prefer. This is just a general recommendation on how to proceed. Okay, so we're going to mix this up. And we're going to put this in a pan and allow it the opportunity to cook. And I can't decide what pan I want to use, so I'm going to use this one. And I've already sprayed this container with an olive oil based cooking spray. I like to clean while I go, so I will make sure that I clean these dishes up right away. But for now, what we're going to do is cover the dish with aluminum foil, and we're going to place it in an oven at 350 degrees for at least 45 minutes, depending upon how thick your dish is, or how thick the container is. A minimum of 45 minutes. It may take up to twice that. What we're going to do now, like I said, we've placed the dressing into the oven. We're going to allow it to cook, and once it's done, I'll be back with you. Hi everybody, it has been about 45 minutes and I just checked on the dressing and it's doing really well. I'm going to keep it in the oven probably another 10 to 15 minutes, but I tasted it to see if the seasonings were where I needed them to be, and they were. Have another little bite here. It really does taste good. So I gotta go and pick up my doggy from doggy daycare. I'm going to turn my oven off and leave this to sit in the oven for the 10 to 15 minutes that it's gonna take me to go and pick up the doggy. And I will pull it out of the oven and it will be ready to eat. So once again, not that difficult to make dressing. Just take your time, cut up all your items, then combine all your ingredients, put in your stock, and put it in the oven to bake. Making certain also that you put in your seasonings, your sage, poultry seasoning. I used garlic powder, black pepper, as well as Lowry seasoning salt. Again, I enjoy cooking. I took the time to try out this recipe because I've never done dressing with sausage in it, and I like the way it tastes. So give it a try, and I will make sure that I put the actual recipe in the notes so that you have it. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be blessed. To God be the glory.